My name is Rachel Dance. My student number is 1313904. This is 6IG003 and 6IG006 for the work placement module. I'm currently going to do a diagnostic analysis on the exam that I've recently done. It was an estate agent simultaneous sort of exam where a deaf client was coming in to look at two flats. She'd like a book of viewing for two flats and also just looking for a little bit of information about how to buy either a flat or a house. So for preparation, I looked online and at websites, and I'd also done a lot of research just for my own interests before, so it was quite useful to have that background knowledge for this exam. For example, with gazumping or budgets or deposits, it was quite good to have that background knowledge so I can just pull the words at the top of my head without really having to think too much about those words. And I'd also practiced similar scenarios with peers and with people at work and with my supervisor on placement. I think in the assignment, the interpersonal skills between me and the estate agent and the deaf person, they all flowed quite nicely. When I needed to clarify something, I made sure both parties knew of it, because this is something in the past that I haven't been quite so good at. So this time I was really aware that when I was clarifying with the deaf person, I let the estate agent know, and then the one time the estate agent said £1,100 and I had to clarify with him whether that was the right amount, and as I did, I signed the sign for clarify so that the deaf person knew what was happening as well. But I did realise at the beginning of the interpretation I didn't introduce myself fully with the full interpreter explanation, in case the estate agent had never worked with an interpreter before, so he might not have known what to expect. And when later on he asked for the deaf client's address, I misspelt it, so the deaf client got a bit worried in case the spelling was wrong on the system. But again, I did make that really clear that it was an interpreter error, so that wasn't too much of a problem, and it didn't cause any issues in the flow of everything. I think throughout the whole thing I got the relevant responses, that anything that I had asked, I got a response back that seemed relevant and the right sort of responses. Nothing ever came back where it was very wrong or very different from anything I was expecting. There was one time the deaf person said about saving up a little bit more of a deposit and it taking a little bit more time to save up, but she wanted a house now. And I got a little bit confused, and I thought that she had meant there was extended time to pay back the mortgage. But again, I clarified that with her, and after she'd explained, I then corrected myself because it was more time to save up for the deposit, but she didn't want to wait. And I think my vocabulary into English was quite good. I think into BSL I could have been a little bit more formal, which would have reflected the estate agent's tone and style a little bit more accurately. I did do a few lazy signs, so instead of signing I know, the no didn't quite touch my head, my thumb on my head, as it should, and it sort of ended up near my cheek a little bit more, which is something I need to be aware of. Also, when the estate agent talked about financial commitment in a mortgage, I signed commitment, but I didn't actually link it back to money, so I think I could have been a little bit clearer in that aspect. But I think at the beginning I was very aware that people were watching me. I guess that would be like an environmental demand, and I got a little bit nervous at the beginning. I kept starting the sentences with so, and that was really apparent when watching the video back. But as the assignment progressed, I did improve that a lot, and I think the intonation also improved with that, so that's always good. And I think in the terms of concept and explaining things culturally and mediating, that one of the main terms that came up was gazumping. So the deaf person had explained what it was, and the estate agent had said that the term was gazumping. So first of all, I finger spelt that back to her so that she knew that that was the term for it, as I didn't need to explain what it was because she'd already given me the explanation. And then he said that English law doesn't cover it, and I signed that quite literally. I said English law not covered, and it was quite clear on the deaf person's face that that wasn't clear enough for her to understand. I think I tried to sort of try again in a different style, so hopefully I managed that so that it was clear enough. She had a really good understanding of the processes of buying a flat or a house, so it was quite easy to give concepts across because it wasn't too much explanation needed. But when it was needed, I think I went into quite enough detail so that she understood, and I always made sure that she'd understood first. Any queries that came up, I did question it. Right at the end, she signed, "Thank you, I learnt a lot," and I omitted this because the hearing person had replied at the same time, and I was very aware that I didn't want her to miss out on any information that she was being given. But overall, I think it was a successful assignment, and I think both parties got what they wanted out of it, and they did book another meeting for a couple of weeks' time. Thanks.